And welcome to the K-Files. We have myself and JP today.
Good morning.
So glad to have you back. Did you have a good vacation?
Anytime I can get away to the beach and sit on the beach and enjoy some sunshine and have some adult beverages, it's a good time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We enjoyed ours too. It's amazing down at Topsail. The water comes right up to, there is no laying on the beach.
Yeah.
Until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Because the water is coming right up. You can see the biggest difference in last year and this year.
You know, I've looked online and I've noticed where literally some of the properties, the porches step down into the ocean.
Oh, this one did. On this condo, they have steps, probably 10 steps. And you get on the third one down, fourth one down, you can sit down and the water will just come right up by the steps at high tide.
Well, what helps Atlantic Beach out is they're constantly having to dredge for the port, and they've got to have somewhere to put that sand.
Right.
So they're able to pump it right across the street,
right,
and re-nourish those beaches. But down there, there is nowhere to get sand.
That place has been blown away so many times, and Fred, my weatherman, is wanting a hurricane. He loves hurricanes. He thinks it's boring right now. He said, what can I forecast? It's hot. Let me get a hurricane, please. He loves hurricanes.
I think we're fixing to get one, right?
Isn't there a chance? Brewing or something.
I think.
And I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like that mess. I told him, I said, I don't know what you're praying for, but you better stop. So anyway, but we hope everybody does have a safe and happy 4th of July. Remember safety, because people get together and they have fun and they're not thinking, and we've got these fireworks going and they catch something on fire, and that's happened so many times. Remember safety when you are out having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that, but you've got to remember so to be safe as well. So anyway,
working on the patrol, one of our busiest weekends to work, or busiest times, was Christmas, Thanksgiving, and the 4th of July.
I'll bet.
It's sadly it can be one of the deadliest weekends that the state of North Carolina has on the highways. So please, if you're going to do adult things, be responsible. Have a designated driver. Use Uber. Phone a friend. That's what I tell people. I mean, have a good time, but be careful. Be smart about it.
Absolutely. And that's coming from a retired trooper. So anyway, are y'all having the oyster roast this year?
As of right now, in talking to Philip Briggs, yes.
Okay.
I think they're looking at maybe November again, October, November. But I don't have any concrete dates on that.
I was just curious.
And what's the guy's name here in Rocky Mount with Brian James.
Yes.
He kind of helps lead, put that together for the patrol every year.
Yes, he does.
That's kind of his baby, and he is a big supporter of the Troopers Association.
Oh, yeah.
And we're thankful.
Yes. He enjoys doing that and likes doing that, and is so happy to be involved with it. So we'll have to bring him on and let him talk about it. And whoever else wants to come and talk about it, they certainly can, because it is a great event. So.
And it's a big fundraiser. We're able to usually raise enough funds that night to feed and care for those horses, equipment, things like that, for 12 months. So that's
Do you know how much horses eat?
And those are big horses, yeah.
I'm telling you, I know they'll be eating up something. So that, and just maintaining the caisson, and just maintenance is vet bills. Golly day, all the vet bills and all of that. So you just don't think about all the needs, but until you see something like that. When you see one of the funerals, it's just the greatest thing. It is, such an honor. I'm sure to the families. The families just really are honored to have it done that way. But anyway, so we had this was going to be a hot and now, but they have caught the person late last night. So on Cypress Street, there was a murder, and So I was going to announce that as our hot and now, but I will read it from the Rocky Mount Police Department, because they did send me a media request to yesterday to read it. So I will read it and say, great job to the Rocky Mount Police Department for apprehending the suspect. So anyway, the Rocky Mount Police Department arrested and charged Adrian Hagens, 29 years of age, with first-degree murder. He is remanded to the Edgecombe County Detention Facility without bond. The victim was identified as, and they didn't identify the victim yesterday because his next of kin had not been notified. So now the identification is Jeffrey Finner, 35 years old, of Rocky Mount. Rocky Mount Police Department is continuing to investigate this incident and request anyone with information, please call Rocky Mount Police Department. You know, they still probably want to know exactly what happened. Maybe this person is not telling, the suspect's not telling, or they may think somebody else was involved. It was more than one. So anyway, that's our hot now, but they have caught the person, so we won't be asking, well, we are asking you, if you know anything about it, to please come forward and call the Rocky Mount Police Department, 972-1411. Just call that number and let them know what you know. It'll be anonymous. It can be anonymous, but help them out. Help them out. So where did we leave off?
Well, good job, Rocky Mount Police Department.
Yes,
good job
that's
on
what
that.
I say. Very good job.
I will report that I went to a Nash County Commissioners meeting
Oh, you did?
last Monday. Monday was a week ago,
Okay.
and it looks like there was some funds appropriated for pay raises for Nash County EMS. It looks like there was some money appropriated for pay raises at Nash County Sheriff's Office for rank and file deputies. The sheriff didn't actually get a pay raise, but everybody else did. They had 2 more EMS employees resign yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
So at least the ball has started, you know, working towards some issues of coverage.
So is this pay raise still not putting them in a comparable position with other agencies?
I don't know what strings go with the salaries. I don't know if you've got to jump through hoops to get the salary that you deserve. I don't know about that. That's something that's going to be kind of in-house at EMS. But apparently, for 2 more employees to quit yesterday or Monday, you know, it kind of makes me wonder, you know, what exactly is the situation.
Wow.
Because up to now, I've been under the impression that it was money, it was funds.
Wow.
I do know in the past week we've had to rely on Wilson County EMS to respond to calls. We've had to rely on Wake County to come and take calls for service, and I think yesterday or Monday, Halifax had to come into Nash County and take EMS calls for service.
Good grief.
So it's I mean, this is a critical situation.
Yeah, this is not good. Now, what's happening in Mount Pleasant? I mean, do they have rescues? Do they have EMS at all?
We do have rescue trucks.
But you got to have somebody to drive.
You've got to have a team of people to work it. We had an emergency at White Oak Hill Free Will Baptist Church. Had an elderly man go down Sunday morning, and they called 911. 5 minutes goes by, 10 minutes goes by, 15 minutes goes by, 30 minutes goes by.
Oh my goodness.
And they do not have an ambulance on scene yet because of lack of coverage.
Wow.
You know, I mean, it could happen to anybody at any time, any place in Nash County. It's not just southern Nash County. It could happen in Rocky Mount, it can happen in Nashville, it can happen in Red Oak. And my thing is, and I know everybody's working to get it addressed, but they just need to work on it harder and faster, because if I fall out right here in this studio, you know, 30 minutes is a long time for a rescue squad to get here to save my life.
Yep.
You know, irreversible brain damage can happen in about 4 to 6 minutes. You know,
well, what's going to happen is you're going to be relying on the fire departments who's going to show up, and you know, they clearly say we are. As a matter of fact, we had a Rotary speaker to this effect. The captain of one of the divisions here in Rocky Mount said, you know, we are not paramedics. They're not paramedics.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you need, is that level. I mean, they're first responders. They get there. They can, you know, they can do some things. But they, you know.
Well, the county has been touting, hey, we got these QRVs. We got these new QRVs. Okay. The public needs to understand that is a quick response vehicle. That QRV might be a pickup truck. That QRV might be a Suburban, but it cannot take you to the hospital.
Exactly. That's right. And he said that.
Yeah.
He said, we're not going to take you to the hospital. We're going to work on you until the ambulance gets there.
It might look like a rescue squad or an ambulance, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just a quick response vehicle. Wake County is putting 10 ambulances, additional ambulances, in service July 1. 10. It's going to take about 100 people to put these additional rescue squads in service. Guess where they're getting their people from?
Where?
They got a bunch of them from Nash County.
Wow.
A bunch. Same thing in Johnston County. They just added a bunch, and they got a lot of their people from Nash County. And you can't blame these people. They're trying to better themselves. They're trying to better their family.
Well, they got to make a living.
Yeah.
They're raising a family. They got to make a living. So, anyway, well, I hope now that they've gotten a raise, maybe it can start, you know, turning the other way. I hope. But we'll see what happens, and we'll kind of keep talking about this and keep you abreast of what's going on with it, with the EMS. So, okay, we got to go to break. Be right back with myself and JP right after this on the K-Files. Well, where were we? Do you know?
Seems like we talked about Susan Cleary. I remember that.
Okay, let's see who we're going to talk about today.
Bernice Smith. Yeah, I think we had talked about that one. Seems like we might be on Hugh Phillips and John Rake.
Okay.
The first one we're going to talk about is Hugh B. Phillips. Hugh B. Phillips. This case is from January 28th, 1984.
Oh, wow. We're way back.
Hugh Phillips was walking on Northeast Main Street in the Douglas block of Rocky Mount when an unknown male suspect physically assaulted and robbed him. Phillips died a few days later from his injuries. Again, that was Hugh B. Phillips, January 28th, 1984, Douglas block, Rocky Mount. That's all the information that we have available from Rocky Mount Police Department. If you know anything about that, we'd appreciate you reaching out to Rocky Mount PD, Twin County Crime Stoppers. Again, we pay up to $15,000 for tips.
And there's the number right there.
It's anonymous, and I know this family would love to have any tip to bring closure to that family after, 40 years.
Yes, that is a long time. And you know what happens at that point, some of the family members have deceased, the grandmother and the, parents, and it's a shame that a case goes on that long. But if they just don't have what they need to solve it, then they can't. So, but it's a shame that they do go on that long. So, anyway, if anybody knows anything, as JP said, please let us know.
This next one is a Tarver case. John Roy, I guess it's Rake, R-I-E-C-K, John Roy Rake. This case is from August 31st, 1987. Around midnight, John Rake, who was 40 years old at the time, was closing the Pizza Hut that was located at 1502 Western Boulevard in Tarboro, North Carolina, where he was the manager.
I remember this case.
I remember it. I remember it as a child.
Sure do.
A group of individuals approached Reek to rob him. Reek was beaten with a chair and stabbed over 30 times before the suspects fled and took his briefcase. Reek was still able to contact his wife and call for help. When EMS and police arrived, he was only able to provide them with little information. He passed away before arriving at the hospital. His briefcase was later found near I-95. Witnesses saw a 1970s model light-colored Ford LTD in the parking lot around midnight that may have been involved. Two suspects are described as a black male and a dark-complexioned Hispanic male. These suspects would be in their 50s or 60s now.
They hit the highway and fled. They were just gone. That's the reason that case won't solve.
And if they made it to I-95
Yeah.
and they were past, that's over.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Yeah, they would never be able to solve that, I don't think. So, anyway, that's a shame.
And I believe if my memory serves me correctly, the Pizza Hut back then is where Ribeyes is now. In Tarboro.
I think so. I'm pretty sure so.
I think that's it. I do. I really do.
Yeah, it was Pizza Hut. Yes.
Okay. So if you know anything on that, please share a tip, any information that you know, and get paid up to $15,000 on that one as well.
Absolutely.
This next one, Ibram Salem. This case is from October 30th, 1987. Mr. Salem was working in his store at 1417 Branch Street in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Branch Street Grocery. A small frame black male came into the store with a rifle. The suspect shot and killed Mr. Ibram when trying to rob him, and then fled the scene. October 30th, 1987, Mr. Salem.
Branch Street Grocery. If any of y'all remember Branch Street Grocery, this is where this happened. And we have several Convenient Mart robberies in this book that have just not been able to be solved. So, shot and killed, I guess, right there on the scene, right there before, he could even tell authorities anything. So, that's a shame. Suspects got away. So, anyway, 406-6736 is the hotline, or you can call the 977-1111 Twin County Crime Stoppers, or you can do text to tip. This is a Rocky Mount case. So Rocky Mount was supposed to come last week, and they could not come again. So they are really out. They've got a lot of people out right now on vacation. In the summer, it happens. So I talked with them, and they not able to send anybody.
Is it still Sergeant Joyner
last week
that's tasked with coming?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Margaret Moody.
This case is from April 21st, 1988. On Thursday, the 21st of April, 1988, Margaret Moody was found by friends in her Carolina Rest Home Road residence, shot multiple times. Margaret was still alive when friends found her, and she expired shortly before law enforcement arrived on the scene. There were no signs of a break-in, and Margaret Moody was alone in the residence. April 21, 1988.
Wow.
Carolina Rest Home.
I don't know where Carolina Rest Home Road is. And I've got a notation here with a question mark. I have written what city.
Okay.
Because I noticed.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the Carolina Rest Home Road.
No, and last time we did this, apparently we said, you know, we don't even know what city this was in because it doesn't say. But if anybody knows where a Carolina Rest Home Road is, whether it be Halifax County somewhere, or Scotland Neck, you know, we do have some cases in here from Halifax County. So, but I don't think it's in Rocky Mount. We don't have that here. So, anyway, that's a shame. If you know anything about Margaret Moody, found by friends, shot multiple times. That's just bad, really bad.
Have you been downtown Wilson lately?
You know, I went to P.L. Woodard, and that's about it.
We kept hearing a restaurant being talked on 98.5 talking about Bill's Grill. Bill's Grill.
Oh yeah, Bill's Grill.
And I thought, you know what, let's go try Bill's Grill.
Right.
Downtown Nash Street. Let me tell you something. I have eaten there 3 times in 7 days.
Oh my goodness.
Hooked. And for me to be impressed.
What do they have?
It's like old country food.
Really?
I get the same thing every time. Cheeseburger, steak and gravy, black-eyed peas, butter beans. And every night they have 2 or 3 different varieties of homemade desserts.
So you eat there at night?
We go at supper time. Yeah.
Okay.
Like we usually burn up Western Sizzling downtown.
Okay.
And this has just took its place.
Oh, wow.
I am high. And look, it's standing room only. You have to wait for a seat.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
But what led me into that is I know some of these cases are literally downtown in that area.
Yes.
And they have broke ground on the new Mudcat Stadium around the corner. Yeah.
See, I've got to go down there and get the proximity in my mind of where they're going to put a stadium downtown. It blows my mind.
And it's going to be big.
It just blows my mind that there's that much land.
Yeah. Well, it's all those tobacco warehouses. And back towards the train tracks, it's a pretty big parcel of land that they're clearing.
They're going to have, I mean, that's really going to be a good thing.
Yeah.
And then Rocky Mount is getting a big village, the village of Rocky Mount, right down here, or villages of Rocky Mount, right down here on Bienvenue Road, the corner of Bienvenue Road and Tom Betts, that great big field. A developer from Florida is coming in, and he is putting townhouses, apartments. He's looking at a grocery store to go there. It's going to be a village. I don't know if it's like, you know, the village in Florida, which is where this developer's from, is a very renowned retirement village. I mean, if you live there, and I know 2 people that are moving there that are retiring in Rocky Mount, and you just move there, when you get older, all your needs are taken care of. Your grocery store's right there, your drug store's right in your village. It's a
village living.
Yeah, and it's kind of a wealthy, in Florida, it's on the West Coast. But anyway, I don't know if it's like that, but he is calling it the village of Rocky Mount. But it's supposed to be, I mean, he said he sees so much potential. He said, Eastern North Carolina, I have been looking for a spot like this forever. And he said, I wish I could find a spot like this in other states, and I would develop there too. He said, this is the perfect spot for me to develop what I want to do. So trying to find out who the landowner is. I just want to see who owned it and who sold it and all of that.
You know, I tell my kids, in the next 10 years, you won't be able to recognize Nash, Wilson, this area. You won't be able to recognize it. North Carolina has roughly 11 million people in it right now, roughly.
Yes.
South Carolina has roughly 5 million people. Okay. North Carolina is expected to grow by the entire state population of South Carolina moving to North Carolina.
Wow.
By 6 million people, 6 million more people in about 6 years. That's a lot of people.
Well, don't y'all move from up north, for God's sake. Please.
Well, they're coming.
I'm sorry. I'm joking.
They're coming.
I'm joking. My friend
They're
in
coming.
Manhattan, in New York City, would not appreciate that. But anyway.
They're coming. And, you know, I go to the beach and you go in restaurants and people go to wait on you. And just like you can tell from my draw that I'm from a rural place in North Carolina, these people come in and you bump into them and it's almost like nobody that lives at the beach is from North Carolina. They're from Ohio or New Jersey or New York. But clearly they're not from, like all my neighbors, I mean, they're not from North Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's the way it is.
You know, they have bought up everything at the beach. But it is what it is.
It is, yeah. They
and there's
really
more
are.
coming.
Yeah, they love it here. I mean, we've got pie in the sky. We don't realize it. We take it for granted. I mean, we don't realize the mountains, the coast, oh my gosh, 2 hours. 2 to 3, if it's mountains, 3 or 4 or 5, okay. But, I mean, think about the Midwest and those states. I mean, they have well, Montana and places like that, they have mountains, but they don't have the beaches like we do. And, you know, we go to Cape Cod, and when I go to Massachusetts and in that area, Martha's Vineyard and all of that, the beaches don't have waves. But it's the ocean. It is the same ocean. It is the weirdest thing.
It's almost like a pond or a lake.
Yes, they don't have waves. And I don't consider it a beach if it don't have waves. We're used to these big waves coming in, and they don't have it. So
yeah. You know,
anyway,
there's so many changes coming. I heard you talking earlier about roundabouts. Well, they have stuck roundabouts all over southern Nash County. And let me tell you something, these tractor trailers used for farming and these big tractors with these 14, 16, 18-foot cultivators trying to go around it.
We were talking about that.
It is a mess.
We talked about the other day, what are the tractors and things like that with the blades and all that? What are they going to do?
They have to drive across it.
What they're going to have
because
to,
if you go around it, they run the risk of striking a car that is trying to get into the traffic pattern.
That's exactly right.
It is a mess.
Do they not consider these things?
I don't think they thought about it.
We're living in an agriculture. The DOT has one mindset, and that is these things are all over the country. Y'all have got to learn. They're everywhere. We're an agricultural area. I mean, everywhere is not like us. So they didn't make any concessions. They just, it's a cookie cutter. This is the way we do it everywhere else. That's what they did. So.
And you got tractors now driving all up on the curb, driving up on the inside to keep the distance away from the car waiting to come into the traffic. It's just a mess.
I will bet they just are having a fit. Okay, well, we got to take a break. We'll be right back with you with some weather and some more cases and talk on the Cape Files. Okay, welcome back. We're in the final stretches and the short rows and all of that. So anyway, we'll let JP continue. Maybe we've got time for a couple more.
Yeah. Okay, we just talked about Margaret Moody. We're going to talk briefly about this Louise Jean Woodard Sauls.
And it is briefly.
It is Louise Jean Woodard Sauls. This case is from November 26th, 1988. At approximately 2:41 p.m., EMS responded to the 300 block of Jefferson Street in Wilson, North Carolina, and located Miss Sauls deceased inside her vehicle. And that's all the information we know.
Yeah, we have nothing but the 300 block of Jefferson Street in Wilson. If you know where that is, I don't.
I don't either.
But anyway, Lois Jean Woodard Sauls. So please contact the Wilson Police Department, Wilson Sheriff's Department, whoever you have to contact. But please, or call the number on the bottom of the screen, 406-6736.
Okay, this next case is Christopher Brown. Christopher Brown. This case is from January 6, 1989. On Friday, the 6th of January, 1989, the body of Christopher Brown was located in the woods down a path in the Scotland Neck area. Christopher Brown had been shot in the head and had a trash bag tied over his head. He had last been seen the night of Sunday, January 1st, 1989 by associates. The crime scene itself was never discovered. So they're thinking that he was apparently shot somewhere else and brought to this location and put out. Again, January 6, 1989 is when he was found. The 6th of January 1989, the woods down a path somewhere in the Scotland Neck area. Shot in the head.
Trash bag tied over his head. Golly.
That's going to be from whoever transported him. They didn't want blood in their car.
Right. Exactly. Well, $15,000 is what we have in the pot. We will give you cash money within 2 days, couple of days, 48 hours. We will give you cash money. So if you know anything, it's not upon conviction. It is upon arrest. If the authorities tell Team Cold Case that they have made an arrest and they're satisfied with that arrest, then we will pay you. So it's easy money if you already know something. Just picking up the phone and calling. Just think about, that's easy money.
And the tip that they need might be the tip that you're sitting on and you're debating or hesitant about sharing.
That's exactly right.
It could mean the difference in bringing charges and bringing this person to justice.
Yes. Authorities tell us all the time, law enforcement, when they come, they tell us, we need the public's help. You are one of the best resources they have to solve a case. And what you are doing is helping to bring closure to a family that is being tortured because they don't know what happened. So anyway, we would appreciate your help and cooperation with some of these cases, with any case you know about. And if you know about a case that is not in our book, we want to hear about that too. We're not confined to just these are just some of the cases. So anyway, okay.
This next case is Magdalene Puckett. Magdalene Puckett, this case is from July 8th, 1990. Magdalene Puckett was home with her mother, Aggie Robertson, excuse me, 81, at 906 Clark Street in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, when 4 suspects broke in through a kitchen window in the middle of the night. The suspects sexually assaulted and beat Magdalene Puckett and left her for dead. Her mother was also beaten, but able to advise that it was 4 black males, but was not able to provide any further full description. Police believe the suspects intended robbery, but were surprised to find Robertson and Puckett. Neighbors initially thought that Puckett had died of natural causes and started to clean up the crime scene and destroyed evidence before the police arrived. Police realized that a crime had been committed, but at that point the evidence had already been compromised. In 1996, Robertson passed away. She was the only witness to the crime that had occurred.
That case, 4 people broke into that house and sexually assaulted And the poor 81-year-old mother had to witness this. Can you imagine? I mean, I just cannot imagine what it would do to someone, well, anyone, but someone that age. That is really, really bad. And they beat her too, but she was still able to identify that there were 4. And I do understand this comes from several law enforcement, so I do believe it's true that they do know who these 4 people are, but I don't think they can find them. I think they think they're in New York, up north, somewhere, can't find them, but I think they do know who they are from what the authorities have told me in the past. So anyway, if you know where these people are, these killers are, please let the authorities know, or call the number 406-6736, because it's been a long time ago, 1990, and I know that, but somebody knows something. Somebody does know something. So,
and you know, think about the neighbors who thought they were doing the right thing, or who thought they were, you know, going over to help clean up,
yes,
to learn after the fact that they compromised a crime scene. Can you imagine having to live with that?
I know. And they were elderly.
Yeah.
They were very elderly themselves. She just went to help. It was a lady. She just went to help her neighbor, bless her heart. And from what I understood from her family, she kicked right into Alzheimer's after that.
Yeah, and that's
because an event like that, if you're already going in that direction, an event like that can just absolutely speed it up.
Trigger it, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's just a bad case all the way around. If you know anything, we need to solve it. We need to solve this case and give closure, because I know some of the family members. I know some of the family members personally in this case, and they would desperately like some answers. So that's all for today, JP.
All righty.
Thank you for being with me today, and we'll see y'all. Let's see, next week is the 4th. We're not going to be here next week.
Well, you know, a legend was born July 2nd, 1974 in Nash County, 50 years ago this year.
Who?
Me.
I didn't catch that.
I turned 50 July 2nd. I was born at 9 o'clock in the morning at Nash General Hospital, July 2nd, 1974.
Well, happy birthday.
While my dad drove around the parking lot and listened to I believe it was the Firecracker 400.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday to you. Your birthday will be on Tuesday this coming week, and we won't be on the 4th. So we'll see you the week after that. So make it a great day and a safe July 4th. Be careful out there, everybody.